Picture this: the President of the United States, Donald Trump, gearing up for a high-stakes journey to China's capital in April 2026, and extending a reciprocal invitation to Chinese leader Xi Jinping for an official state visit later that same year. It's a move that's sure to turn heads and spark plenty of debate, but what does it really mean for global relations? Let's dive deeper into this unfolding story, unpacking the details, contexts, and potential implications in a way that's easy to follow, even if you're new to international diplomacy. Washington, D.C., AP News. On a Monday that felt like a pivotal moment in cross-Pacific ties, President Donald Trump shared exciting news on his Truth Social platform. He revealed that he had accepted an invitation from Chinese President Xi Jinping to make a trip to Beijing in April 2026. In a gesture of mutual respect, Trump also extended an offer for Xi to come to the United States for a formal state visit sometime in the latter part of that year. This announcement came hot on the heels of a phone conversation between the two leaders, which took place about a month after their face-to-face meeting in South Korea. During that recent chat, they touched on pressing topics such as the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, the opioid crisis fueled by fentanyl, and even the buying of American soybeans, key agricultural exports that have been a point of contention in U.S.-China trade talks. Trump didn't mince words in his social media update, exclaiming, "Our relationship with China is extremely strong." It's a bold declaration that hints at optimism, but as we'll see, the reality is layered with complexities and ongoing challenges. For context, China was the first to publicly disclose details of the phone call, though they didn't mention the planned visits. Instead, their foreign ministry highlighted discussions on trade matters, the sensitive issue of Taiwan, and the war in Ukraine. Xi emphasized to Trump that reunifying Taiwan with mainland China is seen by Beijing as a crucial element of the international order established after World War II. He also voiced support for a fair, lasting, and binding peace agreement to resolve the Ukraine situation, a stance that underscores China's growing role in global affairs. To give you a quick primer if this is your first time hearing about these topics, Taiwan is a self-governing island that operates independently but is claimed by China as its territory under the One China policy. This policy asserts that there's only one China, and Taiwan is part of it, despite the island's democratic government and U.S. support. The U.S. maintains a policy of strategic ambiguity here, which simply means they don't clearly state whether they would intervene militarily if conflict arose, a tactic designed to deter aggression without committing troops outright. And Ukraine? Well, that's the site of an ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, with China accused by Western nations of providing economic backing to Russia, potentially prolonging the conflict. But here's where it gets controversial. This phone call between Trump and Xi happened right as the Trump administration ramps up efforts to broker an end to the Ukraine war, efforts that some critics say might favor Russia's interests. And it coincides with a sharp downturn in China-Japan relations, which have hit rock bottom following comments from Japanese Prime Minister Sonai Takaichi. She suggested that Japan's military, as a vital ally of the U.S., might step in if China attempted to forcibly take control of Taiwan. Imagine that, a potential flashpoint that could draw in multiple nations, echoing historical tensions in the Asia-Pacific region. China reacted angrily to Takaichi's statements, with Foreign Minister Wang Yi accusing Japan of overstepping boundaries. Xi, in his conversation with Trump, urged the two superpowers to jointly safeguard the victory of World War II, referencing their shared history of fighting fascism. The U.S. stance on Taiwan is clear. They oppose any forceful takeover and are legally required to supply the island with enough defense equipment to ward off attacks. Trump's own administration has pushed Taiwan to boost its defense spending, maintaining that same strategic ambiguity about deploying American troops. And this is the part most people miss. Just this month, Taiwan's foreign ministry confirmed that the Trump team greenlit a $330 million arms deal, including components for fighter jets. Beijing wasted no time in protesting, calling it a blatant disregard for the One China principle, a counterpoint that could fuel even more friction. On the Ukraine front, she pushed for addressing the crisis at its root, with China pledging backing for any peace-promoting initiatives. Yet, Western leaders, including those in NATO, have pointed fingers at China for fueling the war through industrial aid to Moscow. Is this a genuine push for peace, or a way to deflect criticism? That's a debate worth pondering. Shifting gears to trade, a cornerstone of U.S.-China relations, Trump highlighted in his post that the conversation covered fentanyl, soybeans, and other farm products, etc. He boasted about a solid arrangement benefiting American farmers, one that's poised to improve further. Since their South Korea summit in late October, both sides have worked to uphold and refine their existing deals. For example, China has already snapped up nearly 2 million metric tons of U.S. soybeans, lifting a months-long embargo, though this falls short of the 12 million tons the White House claims Beijing agreed to buy next year. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins told CNBC that all indicators suggest China's pledge holds firm. The White House even mentioned a bigger picture, China committing to 25 million metric tons of soybeans annually for the next 3 years, though China has yet to verify these numbers. On the fentanyl issue, a synthetic opioid causing tens of thousands of overdose deaths in the U.S. each year, Beijing imposed export curbs on 13 chemicals used in its production, targeting the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. In exchange, the Trump administration eased tariffs on Chinese imports. She noted that U.S.-China ties have stayed steady and positive post-summit, with room for even greater advancements. With trade tensions easing, Trump hinted at focusing on broader horizons. But as trade barriers lower, are we seeing true cooperation, or just a temporary truce? Some might argue this opens doors for collaboration on global challenges like climate change or cybersecurity, topics not explicitly mentioned here but often intertwined with these discussions. For instance, think about how soybean trade ties into food security worldwide, or how fentanyl restrictions could save lives if enforced properly. In wrapping this up, Trump's upcoming visits signal a thawing in relations, but they come loaded with controversies, from Taiwan's status and Ukraine's future to trade balances and regional rivalries. Is this diplomacy at its finest, or a risky bet that could backfire? Do you see these moves as steps toward stability, or potential concessions that weaken U.S. positions? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with Trump's upbeat take, or do you have a different interpretation? Let's keep the conversation going. Stay informed with the latest updates by following our WhatsApp channel. Associated Press contributor Josh Funk from Omaha, Nebraska, helped compile this report.